hope I'm saying your name correctly. Yarborough? Almost. Jared Sams. Jared. And Eduardo. Eduardo? Where's Eduardo? There he is. Woohoo! So guys, we're going to have a small discussion panel. And first of all, I'd like you to introduce yourselves. Like, say what you do. Like, what's your relationship with Vue? And then I have one question. And then we'll leave it open for the audience to ask a few questions, okay? So the question is, what do you think about Vue? What it can improve? And what do you think is coming for the future of Vue? Yeah. Introduce yourselves first, and then answer the question.
Okay, so I'm Gerard Sanz. I'm a Google developer expert, and my relationship with Vue is very good.
You got to answer the question.
Oh, what was the question?
No, you can introduce yourselves first.
Okay. My name is Jacob Schatz. We're introducing. I work for GitLab, and my relationship with Vue is very good, occasionally tumultuous. I don't know. My relationship with Vue is that I program in Vue every day.
Cool. So I'm Ed Yarborough. I'm the main author of Vue.JS utils, and I do a lot of work around improving testing with Vue.
My name is Eduardo. My name is Eduardo San Martin Morote, if you care about the last name. I'm on the core team as Ed. I've been there for a very long time. I mainly maintain Vue Router and the ecosystem as a whole, I would say. I do a lot of triaging, so some people may be mad at me because I close their issues. But I'm a nice person, I swear. And I work as a freelancer, so I do workshops around the world, mostly in French and English, but I can also do in Spanish. There was another one. And my relationship with Vue.js was first love sight. Love at first sight. Yeah, lapsus there.
That's good.
So the question was, what do you think about the state of Vue.js right now? What it can improve? What are its missteps? And what do you think will happen for Vue in the future?
Okay, I mean, we don't have even you today for this type of questions, but I think that Vue is, it's just on early stages, and I think there's a lot to do still. Probably the thing that I'm more happy about is the CLI, and then on that, probably there's a lot of work still to include some of the features that are not in there, as the tool is being used more and more. So I think Vue is in a stage that there's a lot of potential. And obviously, if Vue wants to catch up with React and other frameworks that has been around for longer, he has to catch up on those extra features that they have.
So, thank you so much. As far as what I think is coming in the future for Vue, me personally, I think that with the Vue CLI making everything easier and easier and easier, I can only imagine that more features are going to be coming to the Vue CLI to make things even easier. And I hope that the Vue CLI can start to tightly integrate the testing with the template and all those types of things.
Cool. So yeah, I think that at the moment, the Vue API, the core Vue API, is in like a sort of stabilization place where the core's got to a good place for us to start building lots of tools around it. I'm really excited for Vue.js utils. Has anybody used Vue.js utils before? Yeah. So I'm excited to get that out of beta at some point in the next few months. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of the ecosystem growth around Vue in the future.
So the beginning, regarding the state of Vue right now, or just the future? Both. So right now Vue is in a very good place, and we can see that because there is more and more jobs going out. So if you hate Angular, for example, I hate Angular, and you want to change a job, I think is the moment. There are so many jobs around. You can find something where you are enjoying. You're going to enjoy more your day life. The future. React is fine, but the future of Vue is more focused about keeping up with the new features that the browsers and JavaScript are implementing, as well as keeping the framework lean. As Ed said, we're going to keep the same API. There is no major changes for the future, not even for the V3. A better type systems, and this is not because of the integration with TypeScript, although I think it also plays a role, but it's also because the auto-completion that you get on VS Code, it's so good for people who are starting, and having a better integration also improve that experience for people who is coming from another background or who is just learning. Other than that, well, there is the proxy topic as well, so we want to have a different, the reactivity system nowadays is working on top of object-defined property that have some caveats, which are defined on the guide. And if we move to proxies, we completely eliminate those caveats, but it also means we completely eliminate shitty browsers like Internet Explorer. So we have to keep that in mind. And about keeping up with the other the other frameworks, I think we are doing pretty well, to be honest. The framework popularity is crazy high. People enjoy working with Vue. The ecosystem is growing more and more. And what we try to do as well is keep increasing the amount of patterns that we can give to people, so they feel more comfortable building applications. More people build components around these patterns. And when you read somebody else's code that is using Vue, you can understand quicker. And other than that, is the whole ecosystem evolving, like the Vue test tools, the CLI, which is improving the beginner experience, etc.
Thank you, guys. So,
I just want to say one thing real quick, because I only had like 2 seconds to think of it. The one other thing I wanted to say is that when GitLab first adopted Vue, I don't know if you know this, but every month or so, we would get a contributor that would just go into the Rails code and replace all the Vue with React, and which is pretty gutsy. But that stopped happening, and what we notice is that from a hiring manager's point of view, because I'm a hiring manager, we have gotten a lot more people that are interested in Vue. We've had a lot of people that are now applying because of Vue. And you're having a lot more jobs opening up because of Vue, as I'm watching, because I talk to other hiring managers, and there's a lot more jobs out there now also for Vue, which is really exciting. And people stopped trying to replace React and GitLab.
all right, now we're going to open for the audience to make some questions. Pessoal, aproveita aí. Ali foi primeiro.
Hi, thanks for hard work. Existe algum plano no futuro de ter async render no Vue.js?
So, is there a future plan for having async rendering in Vue.js?
Having what, sorry?
Async rendering.
We have discussion about that, right?
Async rendering.
Yes, we have a discussion about that. It's something we talk about internally, but the thing is, what was the problem? So not only it requires full rewrite of some things, but also the benefits that you get, like threading in browsers doesn't exist really. I mean, web workers are not that. You cannot do everything you want in web workers. So even if you have async rendering, like the only benefit you have is removing junk from rendering, like in React. Is not something that we have on the roadmap yet, because there are other techniques to prevent that are more that you still need if you want to make your application completely fluid. I don't know if you remember something, but I think we talked about it sometime.
Yeah, I remember talking about it, but I don't remember what was said. So sorry.
All right.
Hoje o Evan ele é um dos usuários do core, né, onde tem mais commits, falando do Vue, né? Óbvio, perdão. Mas o que aconteceria com a questão do andamento do projeto caso o Evan Vue saísse hoje?
Okay, so Evan U has the most commits when it comes to Vue.js. What would happen to the project if Evan U just dropped out of it?
Yeah, like dies. No, it's so we had the discussion many times indeed. There is two things. There is one thing to take into account. All the pull requests are squashed, which means all the commits are merged into one single commit. So all the contributors have one commit per fixed feature request. Whereas Evan U pushes directly to dev most of the time, and so he inherently has more commits than us, a lot more, and he's also working full time on it, which is he's the only person doing that, I think.
No, there's another person.
Yeah, no, I mean now there is another person, yeah,
Yeah.
but still, and then if you take into account, if you look at the core, it's true that Evan U is the most active person. I think it will be that way for a long time. Although most of the team, if you take the whole team, different persons on the team know different parts of the code base, and Evan U probably knows all the code base. But if you take the other libraries, for example, Vue test is completely written by you.
Yeah.
The Vue CLI, the Vue CLI now is half maintained. I think half of the code is by Guillaume. The DevTools now is known by Guillaume, I think as well. The router, I know pretty much all the code in the router. Vuex is maintained by Katashin, mostly. I think.
Yeah, same with
I think.
the class component. Oh. Yeah, I was going to say that it's the same with the Vue class component. That's also maintained by Katashin.
So if for any reason Evan wants to stop or disappears, which I hope he doesn't, of course, the team is confident by itself to keep working on Vue. Now the problem is, of course, that we will not be working on it full time, I guess. But the team is confident about picking up, and for sure, if it's sure that we will pick him up. And if it's not the team or only the team, other people will also come and pick up the work, because we're not going to just let something that great work go away and disappear.
Right.
Hello. I'm gonna ask you a question below. But how's your relationship with the Vue core team with the React team? Because we have a kind of similarity projects on the web, and we are in the same. We are on the web. So the teams that you are like have some meeting, they discuss about something. You have some inspirations on something like render functions that come to Vue, or something like this. Do you have conversations?
Is the question like how do we specialize?
How Vue core team interact with React team? There is an interaction with React team. You something change things about projects.
I think you.
Yeah. So so sometimes there is communication. So recently there was a potential problem with server-side rendering, and I think the React team found out about it, and they got in contact with somebody on the Vue team, and we fixed that and patched it before it was announced. So there is communication between the two teams. There's definitely some jokes between the two teams on Twitter, so if that counts as communication. And I know that the React team are very open to talking to us. So Dan Abramov in particular was really useful when we were writing the docs comparing React and Vue, and he's very open to talking about issues and discussing things. And he's actually going to be attending a Vue conference next month. So there is communication, but it's ad hoc. It's not like a regular thing.
Hi, here. Hello, good afternoon. In September, we will have the London.JS, London Vue conference, and most of you will be there. It's a surprise to Dan Abramov to be there too. You guys can speak more about that and your relationship with Dan Abramov?
So my relationship with Dan Abramov is non-existent. Yeah, but I think that there are different members of the team who have spoken to him, and the reason that he's appearing at the Vue conference is because the conference organizer, who's also on the Vue core team, got in contact with Dan. But I'm not sure of the details of that.
Okay. Hi. What do you guys dislike about Vue, and what will you change about it in the framework?
So I guess an immediate dislike is the distinction between mutations and actions in Vuex. So the plan going forward is to actually sort of merge them into one function. Rather than having mutations and actions, you're just going to have actions that can update the state. So that's the first thing that I can think of. I don't know if anybody has anything to add to that.
So I dislike filters. We remove them on the release of the 2 and we bring them back. I think that was a bad idea, but the syntax sugar is nice. So there are other features, and I'm trying to think about them. But there are some small things that I don't like. That makes prop validation. There you go. Prop validation is a topic that is hard to understand a lot for people. It's hard to understand for people because they think that they get some security, like they feel safe because they're using prop validation, but it's not like that. It's just a development help that you give to other developers when you create a component. You're saying this prop should be this or this, and if not, provide a message. And some people go really serious about that, like, oh, they go into wars. These, how do you call that? The wars. There's a term for that in English. They go in, like, into philosophical wars about, oh, but this should be done in production mode as well, and they get very hard about these things, but it doesn't really matter because, you know, that code won't be executed in production anymore, anyway, so.
Yeah, you can think while I talk. So one really great thing about Vue is that it's very open to the way that you write it. There's kind of like, I mean, there's definitely bad ways to write Vue and there's bad ways to write Vuex, but one problem with that is that when you have a large team, you do have to come up with like a way of writing Vue so that everybody isn't doing it completely differently. And even though you have something like Vuex, even in Vuex, there's a lot of different conventions and different ways that you could write it. And, you know, like within our team, you know, arguing about whether or not you always have to have an action going to a mutation, things like this. And what is map mutations even for if you can't go, if you have to always go through an action to get to a mutation and all these different things. So one, it's not a dislike, but it's something that I wish that there would be some more strict convention around these different things.
from listening to the answers, I'm not sure if it was the question what you dislike or what you like. So, or dislike. Okay. So far, I haven't found anything, but my experience is limited. So, what I would say is usually because I'm coming from Angular and some React, so I have maybe 5-6 years experience in Angular, maybe 2 years in React, and maybe just a few months in Vue. So my experience is much easier. It's much easier to grasp. It's much easier to implement what you want to implement. So far is all good. I haven't found anything itchy.
Yeah, really got to pull at strings to find something you dislike. But if you force us, we'll find something.
I have a question. What expect Vue about native applications? We have some libraries who make this like Wix, like native script, but nothing stable. I can be wrong about that, but Vue have some project about this, or like React Native?
Roger, can you repeat the question for us?
About native mobile development. Do you have any plans for that? Officially? Supported officially?
So there is no official plans for us to support it because, to support it. It's not true. Evan does work with Wix, with Alibaba, but the core team itself is not going to work on something for mobile because there are other teams who are working on that. And it turns out that this is more effective. The same way as there is a team working on Next, so we don't have to provide something like Next. It makes the solution much more high quality, I would say. Because the team that is working on it, they feel like they really have the ownership on the product they're building, and they take it way more seriously, like they will never drop it like that. And I think that's also why we have Wix, we have NativeScript, we have now Vue Native, which is compiling to React Native or something like that. It was something crazy shit going on. And I know that even you worked with Alibaba for Wix, like they cooperate. And I talk sometimes with the people of NativeScript, so we try to coordinate so we can make things work for them as well. We make sure that we don't break things, or at least we try not to. That's it, I think.
So the plan for Vue 3 is to have a sort of mono repo and split Vue into lots of different packages and publish them. So the idea being that it would be easy for third-party libraries to pick up core parts of Vue and then build off of that. So I think hopefully when Vue 3 comes out, we'll see even more libraries that are much more tightly integrated with Vue, providing native mobile support.
All right, that was the last question. And for closing the session, do you guys have any messages for the Latin American Vue community?
A lot of pressure. Just keep on using Vue. But yeah, seriously, it's awesome to see such an enthusiastic community in Brazil. It's been really great speaking to everybody and seeing the enthusiasm for Vue. Especially that last talk, that seemed particularly enthusiastic. Although I couldn't understand that again. But yeah, it's been great. So keep on being awesome.
All right, guys, that was it. Thank you so much again.